2013 Mark 6 GTI 6-speed.
How long have you had it?
Maybe a year and a half now.
It wasn't modded when you got it.
It was stock, 100%.
Where'd you start?
My friend sent me a link to it for a downpipe, and that week that I had the car, I had already ordered a downpipe for it. The downpipe was first, intake was next, which is the InGen short ram at first. It had still the stock pipe and all that stuff, and it was just kind of ugly. Eventually, I ended up buying, I think it's a Spolin rear intake pipe, so I didn't want to buy the whole entire intake. I was trying to do just like all budget and cheap. That thing was maybe 180 bucks. That's the stratified extra fuel kit. So basically it adds an extra injector into the throttle pipe there, and it all goes off of like boost pressure pretty much is when it starts spraying that. When I went KO4, my tuner was saying that I was running out of fuel at the top of like fourth gear and stuff like that, and he said there was a few ways I could go, is change a low pressure fuel pump or meth kit, or I could do their extra fuel kit. So I just went with their extra fuel kit since I'm doing everything pretty much through stratified.
So I guess we got to back up a little bit and talk about that KO4 first.
Honestly, it was just posted up on a Facebook marketplace saying it was KO4 turbo. It came off of a 13 GTI, so I was like, well, that's perfect. Drove the Ohio and got it. He sold me it for like 500 bucks. He said it came with these 034 street density engine mounts for an extra 100 bucks. So KO4 turbo and street density engine mounts for an extra 100 bucks. I bought the KO4, I think we went a few days after Christmas of 2019, and it just sat in a box in my basement for months until April of this year, really. I think April or May is when I finally decided to put it on. Honestly, it was not that bad at all, besides some of the bolts being rusty and all that stuff, being its high mileage and all that.
And it makes a gigantic difference though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you see most of it on the low end, like pull off the line, or do you see it at speed and everything?
Yeah, more pulling at speed, just because like these things front wheel drive being first and second gear are useless. Spin city there.
Do you have any idea how much you're pushing out now?
I don't know for sure, so just be off the top of my head. A lot of people are saying you can get around 350-ish with the KO4 on it, so I'd like to put it on a dyno and see what she actually makes, being with the extra fuel and all that stuff. It's definitely a different animal compared to stock.
And I can see that you did an intercooler as well.
Yeah, that's a G plus eBay intercooler, and I think it's actually set up for a Mark 5, so all I really had to do was cut the piping to make it fit. Made my own L brackets to hold it in there, and you can see I didn't even have to trim the bumper. It's real tight fit though. I never even thought of that. First put it in there, I just put the bumper on and all bolted in. Rip top coil packs there.
Why that upgrade? Why does that make a difference?
Mostly because the stock ones, they tend to miss a lot whenever they're actually tuned and all that kind of stuff. Got the car, they were already changed, but for how cheap coil packs and spark plugs for the thing is, you cannot do it. Plus
Right.
red looks way much cooler.
Is it a custom tune that you've had done for it, or is it just like a stock map?
It's more custom kind of pro tune, sending back files and files, bunch of data logging and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even know if I actually finished. I just stopped emailing the guy because I probably had almost 60 data logs. I was getting tired of doing it all the time. And then every time we get to a certain point, he'd be like, well, now you're running out of fuel here, or you're another problem there. I was just like, it's good for where it's at now.
What would you say it was lacking from that tune? Are you pretty happy with where it came?
Where it's at right now, it's pretty good now, like I said, with this extra fuel stuff. So that was the main factor there. I want to max out this turbo completely, which I'm pretty sure I'm pretty darn close to it. Raceland Primo coilovers, and the rear's lowered all the way. The front's up higher, as you can see, because it was ruining my fenders there. The same guy I got the turbo off of, I got these OZ Racing rims off of them. Decent deal for them. They had brand new tires on, so I was like, that's perfect. And they fit the car amazing, honestly. It has a rear sway bar. I don't remember the brand, to be honest. Like I said, I just kind of buy stuff that's relatively cheap, because that's how I am. It's an adjustable rear sway bar. I didn't do a front, because I'm pretty sure you have to take the subframe out for that stuff. Tinted fogs there. Got these headlights off a guy on Facebook Marketplace for 50 bucks.
And they didn't throw an error code or anything?
Yeah, my lights are on, but I know they work, so.
I see you smoked out the side markers.
Yeah, that was actually probably the last thing I actually did too. The other ones are orange. Just threw the whole car off completely. Golf R style tail lights there, the sequential turn signals and all that stuff, LED. Added a very nice touch to it. And then I got a rear wiper delete and the ECS carbon fiber extension wing kit, which I would not recommend using the stock 3M tape that comes with it. Because I'd put it on there and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna wash it, and like the hose hit and it just fell off. So I had to go buy an actual real good 3M tape.
Is this your first Volkswagen?
Third. Yeah.
What'd you have before?
The first Volkswagen I had was a 1996 or 97 Passat VR6. Real weird looking car. It had the VR6, so it was cool. And then after that, I had a 2000 Mark IV VR6 GTI.
Why'd you pick this car?
I wanted to get into a newer Volkswagen for sure, and I wasn't sure what I wanted. And I went ahead and looked at one before. I didn't know too much about the packages or really anything about them. I just wanted to get into one. And the Mark 6, you can get them relatively pretty cheap anymore if they're high mileage. Looked at one that was in Butler, and it had like 70-some thousand miles on it or something like that. I got in it, and like almost every light was lit up on the dash and stuff, and I was like, this is bogus. And it had some scratches and stuff in the paint and dents. Didn't like that one for some reason too much, and I found this one in Erie with 149,000, I think, when I got it. I loved it, to be honest.
Is this your daily most of the
It
time?
was until I had gotten the Subaru Forester I drive now. This thing being straight piped, it's pretty loud, and neighbors probably won't like me starting it up every morning to go to work. It's more of a weekend warrior kind of thing.
So your exhaust, essentially, you started with the downpipe, and now you're just straight through.
Yep,
all the way
catless
back.
downpipe and straight pipe the whole way through. I had cut the stock muffler off and had ordered a wide pipe piece, and then just kind of built it myself to the back. And I had the stock tips just welded onto it, so it looked like it was a stock exhaust, but it wasn't. But it was too short, and it melted that from me always beating the crap out of it because they're super fun. I didn't get this cat back here until November of last year, so it was one of the last pieces too, to be honest. Super nice fit up too for a $300 exhaust. It slid right on. Stratified tune is through a cob access port.
How easy is that? I mean, is that
Super simple and easy.
Yeah.
The reason I went with this is because it's super simple. Plus, you get your own little gauge pretty much to watch. You can watch 6 parameters, whatever you want to watch. You can switch tunes on the fly. Pretty much takes 5 minutes, if that. So it has also a KO4 map sensor because I wanted to get the most boost I could get out of the KO4.
Would you ever get rid of it?
This is like the first car that I've ever really modded at all. I wanted to sell it. I had a guy that was coming to come look at it, and I was like, okay, well, I'll go wash it for him, make sure it's clean, and then I'm gonna take it up the highway real quick. Took it up the highway, and immediately once I got into boost, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm selling this car. So yeah, I don't think I will ever get rid of this thing, to be honest.